Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Steve, Old Town Family Chiropractor. I got my Christmas shirt on today. I realize this workshop is right after Christmas, but we are pre-recording tonight's workshop on the Thursday before Christmas, so that when you jump in and join us, you get to have a little more Christmas cheer, I guess, with my lighted shirt. So tonight's workshop, the format is going to be a little different. There's absolutely going to be times that you're going to need to pause it and actually write things out, think about things, have conversations with those you're with. So the total time of the workshop is going to be less than 30 minutes in the recorded version. However, the very first thing I want you to do right now, before we even start anything, is take a look at the slide that's up here. Everyone who is doing this workshop, if you are going to get the most out of it, and if you're here, you might as well get the most out of it. What you need to do is go get something to write on and something to write with. And what I want you to do as soon as you have that is there are areas that we're going to talk about tonight. You can choose all of these areas. You can choose some of these areas. We're going to talk about different goal setting ideas, ways to be successful, ways to set yourself up for success. One of the number one ways to be successful is you have to write your goals down. We have to define them. If all we do is say, I want, or I wish, or it would be great if, then we're just going to keep saying it. So hopefully by this point, you've gotten the thing to write with or on. And what I want you to do is write 1 to 3 goals for at least 3 of these categories or areas of life. So places that are wise to write goals are spiritual, psychological, physical, financial, marital, or relationship, and parental. Now, there are kinds of goals you can also write. There could be tangible. So tangible is like a thing. Intangible would be more like maybe an experience. Short-term goals are things that are going to take 6 months or less. Long-term goals are going to be things that take 6 months or more. So we're going to jump right into the content of the workshop. We're probably going to spend about 15 minutes of video recorded time together today. But remember, to really get the most out of this, this should be your first pause moment. You should pause it. You should actually take the time to write out at least 1 to 3 goals for at least 3 of these categories. This is going to massively set you up for success, not just in the next year, but even in just the process of the workshop. Because if all we do is sit here and listen to check the box that I did the workshop, then we're really missing the point. Every single workshop, conversation, interaction that you have in this office has the opportunity to uplift you, your health, and your whole community. So again, my ask, make sure you have something to write on and with so we can do this together. So pause the video now, unpause it as soon as you're ready, but 1 to 3 goals for at least 3 of these categories. If you want to be, we'll call it a high achiever or maybe overachiever, write goals for every single one of them. So digging in, our content or our conversation is called New Beginnings. So most of us look at the new year every year as an opportunity to do something new. As was shared the last couple of workshops, when I had my birthday just a couple weeks ago, one of the goals that I've set for myself for the new year is in the this year of life, I have a goal of being even more physically fit than I have before, which will help me achieve another long-term goal that I have of at least reaching 100 years old and being completely physically and mentally and spiritually able to do everything I want. So the goal is that I want to have at least 300 workouts or work out 300 days of the next 365 days. Now I realize that's a massive goal. I also realized if I accomplish it, great. And if I don't, well, I'm still going to be better off than I was this year. So as we dig in, when we talk about goals, the fact is, if you fail to plan, you are literally planning to fail. So remember where we started. Hopefully you took the time, you paused the video, you did the 1 to 3 goals for at least 3 of those categories. If you didn't, well, let's look at what this says. We're already failing to plan. So again, this is a pause moment. Pause it, write some simple, maybe some complex goals. All we want for you is everything for you and nothing from you. We want you to help you achieve the greatest possible health, fitness, relationships, life in general. And the only way that we do that is really slowing down and giving ourselves time to think, to write, and consider how we get there. So let's all plan to be successful. So questions to ask yourselves as though you have those goals written down. And again, remember, you're going to have to pause this a couple times along the way because we're going to move kind of quick in the video, is what is it that you want to achieve? Ideally, you already have at least 9 things written down. Why is this goal important to you? The why is even more important than the what, because if your why is big enough to accomplish something, any what or how to get it done becomes possible. If it's, I want to be more fit, and just as the goal I use to say, that's too general of a goal. It's much more specific than that for me, but we don't have time to go into it. Or say, I want to lose weight. Well, again, how much weight do you want to lose? Why do you want to lose weight? Who benefits from you losing weight? Or maybe it's nutrition, or maybe it's something related to your chiropractic care or to your finances, or one of the topics Dr. Sam talked about in the workshop that we did together this week. So what do you want to achieve? Why is it important specifically to you? Who does it benefit, and how soon do you want to accomplish it? So the vision of Old Town Family Chiropractic, we often share that in this workshop. It was posted up on our wall at one point, but really our mission, our vision is we are a beacon of hope, connection, and community. Our desire is to uplift the lives of everyone in Hampton Roads so they can live fully alive. So fully alive is, what do we want to achieve? Well, we want to achieve being the beacon that people come to or know to go to, kind of like the lighthouse, if you want to put the picture in your mind of, I am in trouble. I am not where I want to be. I'm in the ocean. I'm lost. I don't know which direction to go or to look to achieve the health goals or the other life goals I have. We're the light for you to come to answer those questions. That does not mean we have all of the answers by any means. It does mean that the things we're exceedingly good at, that we've done for years and years and put thousands of hours of work into, we're going to help with those. If there's another health provider or another provider that might be a better suit for what you're looking for, we're also going to refer you to the most trusted people that we have that we use for our own lives. So who benefits is, well, the world benefits. If each one of us learns to ask better questions, to become healthier, to really experience greater vibrancy and vitality, not just you benefit, your family benefits, the world benefits. And how soon do we want to accomplish it? Every moment of every day, we're accomplishing that with every single interaction that we have with you. So in the beginning, it's a dream until you write it down, and then it becomes a goal. So think about those ones that you wrote down, and thinking about it, I would encourage you to dream big. Maybe you already did dream big, but whatever it is, it would be a good idea to even upgrade or enhance that to maybe something a little bit bigger, or maybe a heck of a lot bigger than you're looking for. Because why not, as the saying goes, even though it's astrologically incorrect, if you shoot for the moon and miss, at least you land in the stars. But if we make a really big goal, like I'm going to reflect again back to one of my goals for this year of 300 individual days of fitness and working out. What happens if I miss 300? What if I only make it to 250 or 280? I'm still going to be a lot healthier and a lot more fit than if I didn't have that goal and I worked out, I don't know, I only went and worked out maybe 100 times in the year, or whatever it happens to be. I get the math on that. 300 means I'm working out 6 days a week with a couple of days off here and there throughout the whole year. Will I accomplish it? Who knows? But if I don't try, there's no way it's ever going to happen. And with that dreaming big, again, I know this might be repetitive, we have to write it down. Goals not written down is nothing more than wishful thinking or a dream. There's a quick story I want to share of, I did a goal setting workshop that I was an attendee of years ago. And one of the things they said to do was write some goals down and put it underneath your alarm clock or whatever you maybe use a phone, but put it somewhere in your room, and maybe you'll forget about it. And the fact is they did this study, I think it was at Harvard University, and the top 10% of performers, and when I say performers, it's levels of success of what they looked at. It was those who got the furthest in their careers, had the most joy in their family life, had the higher incomes, was really what Harvard looked at. But the top 10% of performers, that they actually made more financial gains in their life than the other 90%. These are people that went to Harvard, that graduated from Harvard. They're already pretty smart people. The number one difference, the top 10% actually wrote their goals down. The other 90% didn't. So to go back to that story I was sharing with you, I wrote, and Dr. Ash and I wrote a bunch of goals down, and we stuck it on our bedside table. And to be honest, I totally forgot about it. I didn't really, I guess, pick that alarm clock up and dust underneath it for a long time. because I found those almost, it was literally about a year later, I happened to come across that piece of paper and had no recollection it was there. Out of everything that was on there, we accomplished something like 90% of it. Did I remember every day that I made those goals? No. But the fact that I wrote them down is a really strong tool to help make that happen. Because at the end of that year or 10 months or whatever it was when I found it, I was blown away that we accomplished most of the things we set out to accomplish, even though I didn't remember that piece of paper was there. So in writing it down, we then need to break our goals down into little pieces. So let's say that you are a person who wants to lose weight. So, that's in the time of COVID, the United States population, our level of overweight and obesity has gone up pretty high. So maybe you're somebody who says, you know what, I want to change that. I want to lose weight. I want to be more fit. Or maybe it's, some of the goals people share with me, a new patient just today, one of their goals for care in our office is that they can get back down on the ground. They can play with their grandkids and keep up with them. Well, maybe getting back on the ground and getting back up is not an instantaneous goal, but maybe that goal could be something broken down into, well, I want to be able to start to move a little bit better. I want to be able to stretch more. I want to be able to, and I stretch and reach for the floor. Today, I want to be able to reach my knees. In 2 weeks, I want to get to my shins. In a month, I want to get to my feet. Or the weight loss goal, breaking it down into individual little pieces. So, when we speak on weight loss, because I feel like this is probably going to be a big goal for a lot of people, counting calories is not necessarily the wisest way to do it, but knowing the breakdown. So to lose a pound of weight is 3,500 calories. So if you want to lose, I'm just going to pick a number, say 100 pounds in the next year, that's a big goal, isn't it? Then you need to burn something like an additional 7,000 calories every single week to accomplish that. So that doesn't mean that you're doing 7,000 calories worth of exercise, but it's 7,000 calories worth of additional motion that maybe you're not doing. So maybe you're someone, when you park at work, you jump in the elevator and take the stairs instead. Maybe when you go to the grocery store, you look for the very closest spot possible. Instead, park towards the back where there's not a lot of people around and walk. It's little individual things that really break that down and make it up for you. And again, we already talked about the smaller steps. So SMART goals, this is going to be one of the spots we spend a lot of our time. And again, you're going to want to pause this, write this down, but SMART goals is an acronym. So SMART is you have to be specific. And I know we've talked about this already, but to just say things like I want to or I wish I could without giving it a specific thing is not as great. So again, my big goal for this year, fitness-wise, I have a lot of other ones, but fitness-wise is the 300 workouts. Check in with me along the way, see how I'm doing. I still have to make a chart to actually track it. I made this goal a week ago today, and so far I'm right on track. I've worked out 6 of 7 days, which is exactly what I need to do every 7 days to actually go bigger than 300, but it'll get me pretty darn close. So being specific, it has to be measurable. It has to be attainable. So we said dream big, but don't dream so big that it's going to be something that's totally not accomplishable. So, one of the things that we do in a lot of the coaching work we do for other chiropractors around the country is we help them with this exact conversation to set their goals for the next year in their practice. And if they want to, say, double what they're doing in their practice, then the question is, well, are you willing to show up with double the energy? So if you're already showing up with what you think is 100%, are you going to show up with an additional 100% effort in all those areas to make that happen? We have to think about the same thing with our goals. If we want to accomplish a certain degree more of what we want, do we actually have the energy to be able to accomplish that? If the answer is no, it's okay. Just make the goal more attainable. They have to be realistic, which goes along with being attainable, and they have to be time related. So not only are we going to write it down, does it need to be specific, that we can measure it, that it's attainable and realistic, it's got to be time related. So remember, a short-term goal is 6 months or less, a long-term goal is 6 months or more. So if we go back to the idea of, let's just say the weight loss, and for simple math, we'll call it 100 pounds over a year. Well, time related and realistic would be that you'd have to be losing something like 2 pounds every single week. I get it, that works out to 104 pounds, but hey, what's an extra couple pounds, right? But 2 pounds every single week, which is 7,000 additional calories either burned or maybe removing some things out of your diet that shouldn't be there. We're not going to go into those details today. We have other classes for that, but removing some maybe unhealthier foods, replacing them with healthier foods and moving your body more. Or maybe it's just a pound a week you're shooting for, a half a pound a week. But if we know specifically what it's going to take and we can write it down and track it and make sure we're on with the right amount of time for it, then we know, are we on track? Are we ahead? Are we behind? And then we can recalibrate as we go. So as we plan the steps, again, it has to be time related. It has to have a certain frequency and it has to have a certain intensity. Hopefully this sounds very familiar to how we created the care plan for every single one of you in this practice. And maybe you're someone watching this with a current patient. Maybe you haven't been in for a while. Maybe you're someone who isn't even a patient yet. But one of the things that makes this office unique is everyone's plan of care, not treatment plan. As a fun exercise, this could be another pause moment if to slow down and just Google for yourself the word treatment and Google the word care. Look at the definitions, decide which one you want for your life. This is a care plan. This is caring for the individual. It's going to take time. There has to be a related frequency to it. So for many of us, we need to start with something like a 3, 6, or 12-month care plan. In that care plan, we're going to start with more appointments in the beginning because you need more help right now, greater intensity. And along with that intensity is not just the number of appointments, it's the workshops, it's the exercises, it's the traction, it's showing up and really being on time, and then the intensity of what it happens to be. And when it comes to, say, the care plan we create for you, we watch the time stay consistent, the frequency you graduate to less care because your body needs less, but the intensity of how we show up is always the most important. So apply those same methodologies to exactly what you want to accomplish with hopefully the minimum of 9 goals you wrote down before we got started. And then keep yourself in check. So everyone in life is either a carrot person or a stick person. So to explain what that means really, really quick, a carrot person is someone that says, I want to accomplish this thing. And when I accomplish this thing, I get this reward. A stick person is, well, I want to accomplish this thing. And if I don't accomplish this thing, then there's some kind of penalty. So Dr. Ashley and I discovered years ago that we are way more stick people than we are carrot people. The way we discovered this was it was a financial advisor we had at the time, and there was a goal that he had for us, and we just simply weren't doing it. So he said, well, what are you? And I said, well, what do you mean, am I a stick person or a carrot person? So what the deal was, is it was so many years ago, this I believe was the first smartphones we ever purchased for ourselves. But he said, so what you're going to do is you're going to buy the smartphone. And if you accomplish the thing you need to accomplish, then you get to keep it. If you don't, you get to give it to someone who you know is probably not going to take such great care of that phone or maybe not really appreciate it. So we had our specific person. I'm not going to say the specific family member of mine. If that person happens to be watching, they probably know who they are. But if we didn't accomplish the thing, we had to put the finances up for the thing we wanted, which was our very first smartphone. You can imagine how many years ago that was. And if we accomplished the thing, then we got to keep it. So that's kind of like a carrot. But if we didn't accomplish it, the stick was I was going to have to give it to someone, both of them, that I knew would probably, with no ill intention, but they're very rough on technology, would probably destroy it and not appreciate it. We got that thing done in record time. So what happens if you reach your goal? What happens if you don't reach your goal? So it would be good to do a self-assessment really quick of, am I a carrot person or am I a stick person? And to be honest, we're all a little bit of both, but we all have one that we're more of than the other one. And to know how you can motivate yourself is a super important thing to actually be able to keep on track. Because when we talk about setting goals or setting New Year's resolutions, the fact related to that is by February, 90% of people have already failed. And at least a big chunk of that doesn't even remember they made a resolution. So again, this is why we have to write these things down. And then share your goal with someone. Accountability is key. I have told so many people at this point that I have that goal of a certain number of exercise days in my next year of life. My hope is, and what I know is going to happen, is some of those people are going to check in with me and go, hey, doc, how's your goal going? And if they don't, well, I'm going to be accountable to myself because I want to accomplish it. Right now, I'm very motivated to accomplish it. It's only been a week. But what happens in a month or 6 months or 12 months down the road? If I'm not staying consistent in myself and I'm only accountable to myself, there's a likelihood I may not stay as diligent with wanting to accomplish what I say I want to have happen. There's also a potential likelihood that I could do that, but it becomes far more likely when I know that I'm now accountable to accomplish that goal to the people I've shared it with who are choosing to check in with me. And some of them have already checked in with me this week to say, hey, how'd it go in your first week? And the good news is I'm right on track. Is that going to happen at the end of next week? I don't know. In fact, as many of you know, as the team is going to be here and Dr. Sam is going to be taking amazing care of everybody, next week, me and the family are going on a little trip for a couple of days. I'm going to be out of my element. I'm going to be out of my environment. I'm not going to be with any of my fitness or workout equipment. I'm not going to be near the gyms I like to go to. I still plan to continue the working out. It may look a little different, but I can still do it. So check in with me in 2 weeks and say, hey, did you keep up with it while you're on vacation? Or did you choose to not do that? Which just means now the rest of the year, I have to be even more diligent to get the thing done. But if I track it every single step of the way, then I know, am I on track? Am I ahead? Am I behind? And if I have others holding me accountable to accomplish that, it becomes much more easy. And it's really important that there are people who believe you can accomplish it. If you've ever shared with someone, I want to achieve this thing, and they've said, you can't do that, they could be one of the most important people to you in the world. They're not the right accountability partner for that. I want to make sure I say this the right way because there is zero judgment related to that. But the world is full of people who say that things can't be accomplished, and the world is full of people who accomplish those same exact things. And again, we all have versions of that in our lives personally. Things that we believe we could accomplish and we did, things that we couldn't believe we could accomplish and we didn't. I don't remember who the quote is by, but if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. If we believe it and we write it down and we focus on it, then it's something that we can actually get done. And get a coach. Every single top performer in anything in life has a coach. So as mentioned, as many of you know, one of the other things Dr. Ashley and I do is we are honored to coach other chiropractors and other chiropractic teams. And one of the rules is we have to be in our own coaching. We have to be growing our own lives. Otherwise, if we're not doing the things we're telling other people to do, like if I didn't get adjusted on a regular basis, if I didn't utilize the supplements or the exercise or the traction or any of those other things that we recommend, and I'm telling you to do it, somewhere you're going to know I'm not doing it right. Well, I am doing it right because you see me getting adjusted. You see me on the traction chair. I'm doing a lot of the same things, because one of the rules of this office is we're never going to ask you or recommend for you to do anything that we haven't done ourselves. So it's one of those accountability pieces for us to make sure we're only ever recommending the best and highest levels of care for people. Because if I'm going to do it for myself or for my family or for my kids, I'm not going to recommend anything different for you, because when you're here, you are family, and there's nothing more important than helping lift our families and others up. And then a little spinniness of accountability. So a couple of words of advice as we wrap up in our last couple of moments together is, in the midst of your goal, take a minute, look at your goals, look at your performance, and see if your behavior matches your goals. If it doesn't, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Don't give up on the goal. But if it doesn't match the goal, then either we got to go back to the why of the goal, like we started in the beginning, and say, is it even really a priority enough? And if it is, then we just need to up our behavior or change our actions to accomplish that thing. So in our final thoughts is, if you focus on results, you will never change. If you focus on change, you will get results. Another quick little version or story of this, because I like to teach with stories because I think they help people remember. It was one of the leadership audios I was listening to, I think it was last week, and it was the idea of someone learning how to drive a race car on a racetrack. And basically the idea is as they're learning to do it, at some point, the car is not going to do what it's supposed to do. It's going to lose grip. It's going to spin out. It's going to go into a wall. If any of you watch NASCAR or watch racing on TV, it happens even to the professionals. But in the beginning, the only thing you look at is the wall. And if you're looking at the wall, guess where you get to go? Right into the wall. But if you're looking where you want to go, as opposed to the trajectory you might be going, then you're more likely subconsciously, your body will actually turn the wheel of the car in the direction you want to go. Does it still mean you're never going to hit the wall? No. But does it make it a lot more likely? Absolutely. So the focusing on the result is, I don't want a result in the wall. Focusing on the change of, I'm focused on where I want to go, I will get the result. And it is not the result that's actually important. It's who we become in the process of achieving the result that's important. So Jack Canfield, a great leadership and motivational speaker that we really enjoy. But again, if you don't accomplish the goal, you become a greater person along the way regardless. and set a goal so big. Jim Rohn, another one of my favorites, set a goal so big that in the process of achieving it, you become a person worth being. So my hope, and I know it took a little more than 15 minutes, is you took time to write things down. The blessing of this being virtual or online, or what we like to say directly to you, is you can go back through and listen to this again. You can pause it, you can write the goals down, but make those goals in the areas of your life that are the most profound and important to you. Let us help you with those. Yes, we're here as chiropractors to help your nervous system, the most impactful, important system in your entire body, work at its best. And health is more than just one thing. It's the entirety of your health. So let us be some of those accountability people for you. Find others that will do the same for you. And again, they have to be like-minded people. They have to be people who believe you can accomplish it, because if they don't believe it, they could be wonderful people. They're not really the right people. So thank you for joining us for our direct to you final workshop of the year. My hope is you made these goals. One of the things that we sometimes do when we're in person is you write them down. We'll actually put it, so if you want to do this, you can do this. I'm going to tell the team about it. Bring your written down goals in. We're going to put it in an envelope, or let's do this to make it super easy. Write them down, put them in an envelope, write your address on the envelope. A year from now, we will we will mail you your envelope with your writing and your goals. And it'll be fun to see if it's just like, or how much it's just like me putting the goal underneath the alarm clock. We're going to send it back to you probably November of next year. You're going to open this handwritten letter to yourself and maybe not even remember that you got it. And it'll be fun to notice how much of the things you committed to writing down you accomplished. So in addition to that, make a copy of it for yourself, possibly. So if you have that track goal list, but just simply writing it down is powerful. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful evening. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a great New Year, and I will see you all back in the office in the new year. Have a great night.